I've seen the one she was telling that people need to be woke. Everyone needs to be more woke.
Oh,
you should be more woke. You should figure out who's the wokest and try to be the wokest, but everyone should be more woke. And she's like laughing. It's like, what the fuck?
And when we all sing happy tunes and sing Merry Christmas and wish each other Merry Christmas, these children are not going to have a Merry Christmas. How dare we speak Merry Christmas? How dare we?
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Joe Rogan is absolutely tearing the left to shreds, including the main character being Kamala Harris. Joe Rogan is not a very big fan, to say the least, of Kamala Harris, and he says so in this clip right here that we're going to go over. He's also not a very big fan of her vice president pick, Tim Walz, that she did end up picking as her running mate. He's fed up with the whole thing, man. And a lot of people are. Everybody out there with common sense, everybody out there with even a hint of common sense, like Anna Kasparian and Joe Rogan and Russell Brand and all these guys, they're starting to come around and realize the side that we've been, Joe Rogan, it's been a while since he's actually been a left winger, in my opinion, but the side that we've been supporting for our whole lives, it's not the same. It's not the same Democratic Party. It's not the same left wing. These people are lunatics, and Kamala Harris is definitely one of those lunatics, and Joe Rogan is not a fan of it. Let's check out this clip here from the Joe Rogan Experience of Joe Rogan just tearing Kamala Harris to shreds.
They wanted to have negative energy attached to it and the karma of killing a bunch of people.
Right.
Like, who wants Dick Cheney's soul? The alien's like, you could have that, dude.
Remember when he shot someone and then the guy apologized to him? Isn't that nuts?
You know how gangster that is?
Yeah.
You shoot a guy in the face and the dude's like, yeah, I look like a bird. Don't worry about it.
I look like a deer. Is there any way to you that we're not being gaslit like to hell by Kamala Harris?
In what way?
Like, wasn't she like a joke even among Democrats? Like 10 seconds ago, like literally like a day ago.
Yep.
And now it's like the country's rallying around.
I know.
Like, what? I don't know. I don't even.
Yeah, we're so easily manipulated, and they're all doing it in lockstep. Yeah, no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. She was she polled as the least popular vice president of all time.
Yeah.
She is. I had dinner with a friend of mine recently who actually knows her. He says she's very smart, but when she gets in front of a camera, she locks up, and she's just not good at communicating, and she tries to go off script, and she, whenever you're talking in front of a large group of people, there's a bizarre stress and pressure that really constricts your ability to communicate.
I'm aware.
Yeah.
As of the last few minutes.
Yeah, it's weird. And this is just you and me, right? This is just you and me. And now imagine you and me, but we're in front of 15,000 people that are hanging on our every word, and you're kind of freeballing, and maybe you really haven't even done the research. Like, someone's asking you how you're going to fix the economy, right? And then you have the problem is everybody needs money because the bills, and we're working on that. Like, what?
Well, and that's so obvious when, with the passage of time is significant, and the significance of the passage of time is significant because of the passage of time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's someone who is basically like a kid in the 5th grade who's writing a book report, but they haven't read the book.
That's every time I see her on camera, that's all I can think is that she's the kid who didn't do her homework.
Yeah, it's like she's very similar to KJP, Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House press secretary. And I know you're probably thinking, oh, all politicians are like this. But no, Kamala Harris is on a whole nother level. Like, if you ask Donald Trump a question, he's going to dance around it a little bit, but he'll give you at least some semblance of a response. If you ask Kamala Harris a question, I don't know if she's ever answered a question directly ever. And, Karine Jean-Pierre is the same way, where basically her entire job is receive questions about Biden's mental health and just dance around the questions and never, ever actually answer it, just deflect. And Kamala Harris is asked questions. She's running for president. She should be able to answer questions about what she is going to do as president of the United States, and she's just not able to do it. And that's what people like Joe Rogan and these guys are picking up on. And Joe Rogan, we went over this in a past video. I forgot exactly what it was about. I think it was Tim Pool reacting to Joe Rogan and his new Netflix special. Joe Rogan is so influential as a podcaster because he represents the average guy. Joe Rogan is not absolutely obsessed with politics. He's not watching clips like, I do a lot of these videos, so I'm always checking in on The View and Anna Kasparian and Bill Maher. Like, I guarantee you Joe Rogan's not doing all that. He's just, whatever somebody shows him, he'll watch it, but he's not like obsessively If you're fed up with all the woke nonsense happening in the world like I am, go check out bringtheasteroid.shop, where we just released some new designs that look great and also allow you to express to everyone that you are just tired of the direction that America is going in right now, and that you're just like me and many others that watch this channel and watch Bring the Asteroid as well, and you just want it to go back to how it used to be. Check out bringtheasteroid.shop. We are limited on supplies for this drop, so if you want one, I would suggest that you go ahead and act soon. Let's get back to the video. Watching stuff about politics. He's just an average guy. He's a UFC fan. He's a sports fan. He's working out. He has a family. He has dogs, and he's just doing his thing. If he is picking up on the fact that Kamala Harris is very obviously gaslighting the public, and that this whole campaign is very astroturfed, like I am, and like the people who are actually into politics are picking up on, the average guys are also picking up on this. And even if they're not, because like I said, Joe Rogan is so influential with his podcast, they're going to pick up on it. Like, the Joe Rogan experience is going to wake a lot of people up to the fact that Kamala Harris is gaslighting, and that this whole campaign, this whole like everybody acting like she's the cool candidate on Twitter, people are gonna, it's all gonna go away soon, because people like Joe Rogan are exposing it. People like Russell Brand, even people like Anna Kasparian, who they run a left-wing show. They have an entirely left-leaning audience. They're even picking up on it. Cenk Uygur and these guys. Everybody's realizing that Kamala Harris is not a great candidate to be president. Whether you're left, right, center, doesn't matter. Everybody can see it. It's not even just because she's unlikable. She's just a bad candidate.
Right.
Because she just has that vibe. Did you see the clip of her talking about how dare we wish Merry Christmas to people?
No.
Yeah, she does this bizarre like rant about how we shouldn't be wishing Merry Christmas to anyone.
Is this when she was a senator?
I don't know. It's recent.
It's recent.
Yeah.
Really?
It's so strange that like that was her, like, that's the only time I've seen her passionate about anything on camera.
Come on, really?
Yeah,
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, no,
I've seen the one she was telling that people need to be woke. Everyone needs to be more woke.
Oh,
you should be more woke. You should figure out who's the wokest and try to be the wokest, but you should, whatever, everyone should be more woke. And she's like laughing. It's like, what the fuck?
And when we all sing happy tunes and sing Merry Christmas and wish each other Merry Christmas, these children are not going to have a Merry Christmas. How dare we speak Merry Christmas? How dare we?
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah, that is hilarious. I also think that's probably taken out of context a little bit. I don't know the actual context of the clip. It just seems very, very out of context. Like, she was probably talking about, I don't know, some oppression in the black community or some shit. And she said, these children are not going to get gifts because their community is so run down. And how dare we wish these kids a Merry Christmas when their Christmas is going to suck. And it's like, probably all you're doing, or at least the camp, the regime that you work for, the Biden regime, is doing, that they're not having a Merry Christmas, and you're just kind of virtue signaling here. But anyway, yeah, I think it was a little out of context, but still, I mean, Kamala Harris has endless clips like that. Like, Joe Rogan's laughing his ass off here. She has endless clips like that where she's just a complete meme of a candidate.
She invoked Greta Thunberg a little bit there.
Oh, that's so nutty.
Yeah.
How dare we?
How dare we? How dare you?
Yeah. No, we're definitely being gaslit. Yeah. And not only that, here's the big one, right? She wasn't elected, right? No. She was appointed vice president, and then they didn't do primaries. They had no primaries for Joe Biden, and now all of a sudden she is the nominee because he's stepping away. And so then they bring in her, and they bring in this other guy who's radical from Minnesota. That's the vice president, who he believes a lot of wild things. One of them is transgender surgery for people who are under 13. Another one is abortion up until 9 months.
Ooh.
Yeah. Obviously, there's reason.
It seems like the perfect candidate. It seems like the perfect running mate for someone like Kamala Harris, to be honest. I think that's the audience that they're trying to capture. They feel like they have the majority of the population, which Joe Biden did on paper get more votes than Donald Trump by a good bit. They feel like they have the majority of the population, like the heart of America. They feel like they have that. Donald Trump is kind of like, it's so funny how obvious their strategies are. Kamala Harris is like trying to get the hardcore woke left back on her side, or to stay on her side. Donald Trump is trying to get the center left on his side by disavowing Project 25, by saying that he's not going to move anymore on the abortion issue. He only wanted to leave it up to the states. He doesn't want to push it any further. He doesn't want to ban abortion or anything like that. But so funny how obvious their strategies are. And I think it's a mistake for Kamala Harris because I don't think she has the large majority of the population on her side. I think most people view her as an absolute joke as a vice president and definitely as a president. And then also whenever they see her in the public eye more, they're going to realize how insufferable she is just as a person in general. And I think she's going to miss out on a lot more voters because of what Joe Rogan's saying here about Tim Walz. And yeah, I think it's a horrible choice. Reasons
why people medically would, like, if the woman's life is in danger, if the child has something wrong, it's not going to live. There's reasons why they choose to do things like that. But that stuff scares the fuck out of people. He changed the Minnesota state flag to make it look like a Somali flag. Yeah.
Oh.
You haven't seen that?
No.
Yeah. Show that video. So the video of him taking down the Minnesota flag and he replaced it with the new flag that looks a lot like the Somali flag.
Wow.
Minnesota has a huge population of Somalis in it.
Well, isn't what's her face?
Yes.
Yeah. Omar.
Yeah.
False claims on that.
Oh.
But there's a video of him doing it.
But I'm seeing false claims.
Man.
Well, okay. Well, let's see the video.
I didn't know that.
But they did change the Minnesota state flag, correct?
Sometimes the false.
Yeah, that's the problem with like fact checkers. Some of these fact checkers are completely full of shit. Like you're just trying to debunk something, especially now when there's all this scrutiny being paid attention to what this guy's done.
Yeah.
What have you? What's the false stuff, Jamie? It's not the flag itself, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I typed in. I was just trying to even get to it. A whole bunch of stories are popping up. I'll just show you this. Like, no, he didn't give him a Somali flag. No, he didn't change.
No,
it.
Well, of course, like this happens all the time, man. Like constantly. I'm sure if there was anything bad written about Tim Walz or Kamala Harris or anybody, and not even I'm sure, or if I know for a fact that this has happened and will happen in the future. Let's say Tim Walz did something hypothetically bad in the past that he didn't want people to know about. Nobody really cared about him in the past. Now that he is the vice president of Kamala Harris, everybody's going to look into his past and try to find dirt on him and stuff like that. That's just a natural progression of things. When you become successful, when you become somebody, when you get a following, when you get into the public eye, people are going to look into your past and try to cancel you. That's just how things work nowadays. Now that he is in the public eye, and this isn't just for people, this is also for different events and things like that, the media will do the bidding of the government, do the bidding of these people whenever they have enough influence, and they'll just completely change the narrative on things that happen. So if Tim Walz did this thing that they're talking about, that Joe Rogan is talking about here, even if he did it for real, the media would probably try to cover for him and say, oh, it was a false flag, this is all faked and stuff like that. They do that constantly with these politicians and with even not even personal, people, but with events, even general events and stuff. They do this all the time.
Resembles Somali, false Somali.
But
state
what does
flag,
it look?
it's like-
Okay, but what does it look like now?
That's what I was trying to get to.
Okay, on the left is Somali flag. On the right is the Minnesota state flag. Okay, same color as Somali flag, a white star, a different white star in it, like the Somali flag. Very different than the original Minnesota flag. And there's the video down below that. That's when he changes it out. So he takes out the Minnesota state flag. Oh, hold on a second. Wait a minute. Turn the volume up, please, so you hear him say that.
All right, ready. Whoa, wait a minute.
So he gets the flag, picks it up, moves it out of the way, and replaces it. Look at this.
There, that's better.
Is it?
Why is that better?
I don't know.
Yeah, that is weird. But also, I'm sure that he's not the one that's designing the flag. It is weird. I always like to not just go super hard on the, F the woke left and stuff like that. Let's keep it reeled in a little bit and recognize common sense. I'm sure he's not the one that designed the flag. He probably said, hey, I want a new flag. And then he hired somebody to design the flag. And he was like, hired somebody else to choose the best one, and they chose it. I'm sure he wasn't the one designing it. I'm sure he wasn't the one choosing it. Either way, though, the flag was changed under his, command. So he is still responsible for it at the end of the day. Just because you hire out somebody to do something, if you're the one hiring, then you're responsible for what is done anyway. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think about what Joe Rogan had to say about Kamala Harris and her running mate, Tim Walz, and the fact that, of course, Joe Rogan is not a very big fan of Kamala Harris or her running mate. Let me know in the comments what you think about this whole Joe Rogan experience versus Kamala Harris situation.